This lesson, we are going to be updating it, and instead of writing hit, we're going to add in a random icon. And remember earlier, we pulled in that giant game object into the variable game object when we used fetch, and we returned all of that information before we built out the board. So now we are ready to make use of that, and we do have it sitting within that game object. And we can, where we're selecting that random time, we can also select out a random icon. So using the JavaScript math floor, once again, math random, we're gonna multiply it by our game object length, because remember this is an array, so we do have a length of items. So this will select one of them at random. And we do have a couple things here that we can add in. So we do have a game object now. So we've got our game object that's been selected. So instead of hit, we can do game object, taking whatever that value of the random index, adding in the icon, because remember that was an object, the way that it's brought in. And I'll show you how this displays out. So using our game object, our random index, and returning back the value. So let's try that out. So now when we refresh, we can see that we're getting the icons and we're also getting the value that's associated with them. So when you click it, that's the value that's going to get added in. And as you can see, it's randomly generating here. And of course, we should update that as well within our active. So let's quickly update active class. So I set it as Alice blue. We'll set our color as black. You can also add in a box shadow, so that's a really nice effect. And we'll change the cursor. Instead of red, let's go blue. So we've got this popping up, and as you can see, it's still clickable. So that's exactly what we want. Also, within that object, the new pop object, I want to update whatever the value is. So I just use new pop v, and that's the nice thing about objects. We can create all of these variables without having to declare them. And within that object, the index of value is going to contain that value. So it's the same value that we see being output within the inner HTML. So we can use that. So now we can console log out, so we know which cell got hit. We also have a value for it as well. So let's try that out. So you see when we click it, I'm going to make this bigger, and also make this part bigger. So you can see that whenever I click it in the console, I've get the count, which was 6, and the value, which was 50 at the time. So now what we can do is we can take the player score that we had set to 0 and equal player score plus player score, and we're going to add whatever the value of that target was. And we need to do some of the similar stuff here that we removed out that inner HTML and so on. So we add all of this stuff. So let's go down here. And so we don't have to rewrite it. Let's declare a new variable called new pop. And this is going to be equal to the event target. And so this way we don't have to keep writing eTarget. We can just use new pop, and we can use that same syntax that we used up here to remove out the active class, to remove out the click, to update it as the old text. And one other thing we need to do is clear the timeout. And that's contained within play area in play. So remember up at the top, we had declared it as that. So that will remove out. So the play area in play, we're setting the timeout. So we have to clear that out once it gets clicked. Otherwise it won't disappear, it will keep staying in play. So this is the same thing as before. If player game over, so if not player game over, then we're going to just do the same function. So I can just literally copy and paste that in. So let's try this one out. So I'm going to make the screen a little bit smaller. So now when I click it, I'm updating my score, but I don't see the score being output. So we need to take care of that, and we'll handle that in the upcoming lesson. So go ahead and add this functionality so that you can click it. It's updating with the icons. It's getting the value from the game object. So remember, this is all coming from here where we've got an icon, we've got a value, we've got a value, we've got an icon. So all we're doing is we're taking this object information and we're making use of it in our JavaScript. So go ahead and try it out for yourself. And coming up next, we're going to add some more functionality to this game.